Welcome back, YouTube. This is Squids. And with this episode 11 here, I would like to say that we've got like a ton of progress, especially with how last week ended for the Dreaming Boys of Realist. However, what we really got was two paths intermerged into a opening that, more or less is going to be the conclusive final episode. It wasn't something that was groundbreaking. We didn't really get to see more of how Aika felt. We do a little bit with her jealousy and mood swings and everything along those lines, but for the most part, it's tying all the ties together for those two with Aika and Wataru. Obviously not with Rin or, his sister or any of these other people, but it's bringing them together, and we are kind of seeing how this is going to end. But with that being said, let's talk about this episode here, and then we'll discuss a little more at the end. So we started off this episode, and it's pretty much, before we get the intro, just a straight recap of what happened last week at the very end of the episode. And from that, after the intro, we get to see them kind of just conversing, and about how the fact that Aika actually was like approaching him, and the fact that she saw him and she wanted to get his attention, and she was wondering why he was there, and he kind of explains why he was there and what he's been doing, and like she makes this like nice comment about how she can tell he's been working hard because she could smell his sweat, and like getting really close and intimate-esque like with him. But it's one of those things where he's pretty much extremely shocked about this, because it's a complete 180 of how she had treated him all these years, and he's like telling her how it's kind of weird with her gentle vibe and everything, and she keeps doing that, and he's like mentally thinking to himself that he wants to praise her and tell her how cute she is, but at the same time he doesn't want her to kind of get to where they were before and go overboard, but he tells her that she's cute, but pretty much like they have a discussion about how the fact that she didn't call out to him when she seen him in the first place, but he hadn't really, like I said, they haven't really talked over summer break because he's been so busy with work, and then dealing with his sister and all these other things, and then on top of it, the middle schooler, as he likes to call her. But and then on top of it, obviously, he's also been trying to help out Mina on the side of everything. So he actually has been pretty dang busy. So it's not like he's completely making up lies, but he explains to her how, her advice with, listening to Mina really helped her out. And that, he's kind of like mad that she's not more curious how it went. In more detail, but he also, pretty much says to the fact that, it's about personal life and everything, so he understands, because he knows that Aika has like I guess, right and wrong from like digging into people's personal lives. But from on that conversation, he starts talking about the fact that, or she thinks about the fact of that he has that picture of her in a swimsuit, and she asks if he still has it, and of course he does. And right away, instantly, she asks for his phone so she can delete it. But knowing Wataru, he does not want to get rid of that photo. So she goes to reach for his phone, and he grabs her hand, and the next thing you know, they are pulling into each other, both blushing, looking like they're almost like about to kiss or do something along those lines. And then out in the nick of time, our one and only girl, Kay, shows up, and she's just like, it's you guys. What are you guys doing here after just getting to a volleyball practice? And really splits up the moment, because we can't have anything happening in episode 11. We still have one more episode to go, So they talk about, like the amount of time that, they have like with summer break left, and how the fact that Kay's at volleyball every day, and obviously Aika's got the student council thing, and they're all kind of going to be there for a while. So while they're doing that, Wataru goes and gets them all some tea, and they go drinking tea, and, you know, they kind of ask Wataru what he's been up to, and, you know, he's contemplating telling them that he, you know, went out and did stuff with Sasaki, or Fuka, if you will. And he's like, you know, maybe I shouldn't tell them that. But they're wondering why he's there in the first place. And, you know, obviously he's explained to them that, you know, he kind of owes Rin, and he doesn't want his sister getting all pissy and everything, and that she pretty much exploited or extorted him to do these things. But, you know, then he goes on about the fact that, you know, that the teachers picked for the representatives that they wanted, you know, highly capable guys or good-looking people. And right after that, you know, Kei's like, oh, yeah, you know, I bet, you know, Sasaki would love to do that. And, you know, he's in denial because, you know, there's no way he would. He doesn't do club activities and all that stuff. But, you know, he's, you know, okay, poking fingers, pretty much, you know, saying it with ulterior motives, obviously, because, you know, those two getting together, and she's a pretty good wing person. This whole time, she has been pushing and helping out with all these things. And he does mention he doesn't want to be a pest or anything, and, you know, obviously Kei is like, yeah, you know, that's your specialty. And it's like putting, you know, a match up to a freaking gas torch. Obviously it's gonna piss him off, and understandably so, because he's been kind of pushing away from being that person, and just the fact that he doesn't want to get back into that to bother Aika. But obviously, with the way she's been acting, especially in the last couple hours with him, you would think that maybe something's clicking with him. But he's dense. He's a dense boy. But Aika, you know, is like, they should get all together before, you know, or after the school tour, considering they're all going to be there. And, you know, Wataru is like, well, I don't know what time I'm going to get done at. And, you know, Kei mentions that, you know, that's fine. We'll just talk shit about you while we wait. And of course, you know, he's the one that bought them the tea. So he's like, you know, if you're going to talk shit about me, I'll just take this tea back. And, you know, Kei's like just fighting over it. And it's the friendship arguments. They're the best. I love it. It's so wholesome. But we flash over to Wataru at work with Mina. And obviously he's talking about work the next day, but then Mina reminds him, you know, that he's off tomorrow because of the tour coming and everything. And he, you know, asks if she'll be fine the next day, and she says that she will be. And then he, you know, reassures her she did a good job, and then he wants to tell her brother how well of a job she's been doing, and that she's dependable. And at the same time, she doesn't feel like she is, understandably so, you know. But you can tell just in that one short scene how far she has come at work over the short amount of time of summer break. So, I mean, in a sense, she's definitely more dependable as a person and everything. However, mentally, she doesn't feel like she is, and that's understandable, you know. So we go to the school tour, and we've got, well, technically not the tour yet, but we're on the day, with all the middle schoolers there, and you got Uki, talking about he's the student council president. All the, you know, the middle school girls are just drooling all over him. And of course, Wataru is, you know, kind of rolling his eyes, you know, but at the same time envious and jealous of how well he gets all the attention with his looks and charisma and everything. But it kind of flashes over to all the people, and he kind of looks at Aika and fucking Sasaki over there. And not necessarily talking, just kind of looking and guiding all the middle school students, because obviously they're breaking them up into groups. So we get to the group with Sasaki and Aika, and he's, you know, they're introducing themselves, and he goes over the kanji in his name, because obviously you got, in this group of people, out of anybody they could have in this middle school group, we've got the other Sasaki, the middle schooler / college student. And this is not, what are the odds, right? What are the odds that she's in the group with Aika? It's absolutely hilarious. So they ask if they really have any questions, and so one of the middle school girls asks what the relationship between Aika and Sasaki is. And right off the bat, Aika comes in and says they're just classmates, and Sasaki has this most disappointing look on his face. And It's so hilarious. But after that, obviously Aika like says, you know, let's not ask him more personal questions. Let's go on this tour, and they start going on the tour. And you know, obviously he apologizes for them, and they kind of get over it, even though it's not really his fault. But you all know he has a crush on her, and just that whole thing in a nutshell. And right after that, you know, they're talking about how the school is pretty chillax, but it has like a high, obviously, standards, but it's also a college prep school. So they have like, you know, for a college prep school, it's pretty chill and neat. And obviously, for some reason, the kids already obviously know about Rin, and then they look up to her, and she's their aspiration. And I mean, it just seems to be a common theme with like the Rin and everybody in the morals discipline committee group. And right after that, they kind of like jump a little bit to this other group of teenage boys, and they're literally just like harassing and like trying to see if one of the characters we haven't seen in quite a long while, since one of the first few episodes, Rina, and they're trying to like see if she's like single or anything like that, and they're just tasing her. So Aika gets wind of this because she's out, you know, not too far away, and comes and like pretty much stands up for her and asks what the hell they're doing. And they're just kind of trying to like walk it off, you know, like, oh, we weren't doing anything. But then instantly, you know, Aika goes, you know, if you're gonna be like this, you know, we don't want you in our school. We're just guides, you know. We're not here to do, you know, whatever the hell you guys want us to do. And so they back off right after that, and of course she thanks Aika for everything. And we flash to pretty much the end of the tour, and right after that, Fuka's like, you know, man, you know, next time I'd love that Sajo would show me around. And, you know, nobody really knows who he is. But right after that, the boys come, you know, the ones that were harassing Rina, and they, you know, they're apologizing to Aika, and they said they won't do it again. And so, you know, she accepts the apology, and, you know, just, you know, try better. Don't be a freaking pig, right? And from across the way, we get to see Fuka pretty much scream out at Wataru. And of course Aika's confused because as she says, you know, Sajo, and she's like, oh my god, that's who that is. And instantly you see this just angry look on Aika's face, right? Just freaking pissed off. And she goes up to, you know, Wataru and tells him that these are the two that were showing us around, and he's just looks like he's about ready to pass out sweating bullets carrying chairs. And then on top of it, to get this workload. But then the other middle school girls that are with him are pretty much like, oh, you're the one that, you know, helped her with words, to use polite language, and to get out of her immature phase. And we realize that, you know, frickin' she obviously, well, we've always known this, but she clearly has a crush on Wataru, and he helped her change from these immature ways to her more mature ways. Obviously with like the handkerchief, we've seen that, and a lot of her mannerisms that we've seen over the summertime going into this whole thing, and apparently that helped her grow up a little bit. But freaking her Aika and Wataru are like freaking like, what? And obviously Wataru's sweating bullets, and Aika's like confused and pissed at the same time. But then Fuka like denies all of this, you know, and she's like, I'm not ditzy and freaking everything, but her friends just kind of smile away at this. And then she like works up Wataru about how he's kind and well-informed and polite. And then she starts talking about the day they went out, right? And when that's going on, frickin' Sasaki just gone, just did dips, right? And then Aika comes and grabs, you know, Wataru, and he's got some explaining to do from this, you know. And then freaking Kay's over here razzling the whole situation while Wataru's sandwiched between her and Aika. And like, she's like, oh, he's well informed. Oh, what else was there, you know, freaking. Wataru's explaining himself, you know, the fact that, you know, they were just having fun, nothing happened, you know, he just kind of helping her out, going out, doing stuff, and Kay's just got this, like, shit-eating grin on her face, and it's absolutely just freaking hilarious. And that instant moment, Aika's like, swimsuit photo, give me your phone, and obviously he's like, you know, I'll talk. Please do not take away that photo. That's my pride and joy. And she also mentions, how it's embarrassing that he has the photo with the nice rosy cheeks and cuteness to her. And, he's like, well, I'll just let it sit in my data folder and I'll look at it on a regular basis. And obviously that's the problem, right? Like, everybody knows that's what he'll do. But she does come with a compromise in exchange for him keeping the photo, that he has to hang out with them too, because she thinks that he doesn't want to hang out with her because he likes her, but obviously he likes Aika. And it's this whole thing, and she's worried that obviously he doesn't care about her anymore, and that's why he's been kind of avoiding her, which obviously is not the case. And then he's like kind of freaking out almost at the point that she's asking him to hang out with them. And of course he says yes, that's what he wants to do. But she's like, if you have time to hang out with other people, you can at least hang out with me, right? And you can tell she's got this embarrassed, sad, emotional distress on her face. And obviously he wants to hang out with them. That's like what he's been trying to do, but he backed off because of the way she approached and appeared to everybody. And for the most part, that's the end of the episode. Then we get the ending, and then the after credits is pretty much Aika and Kei talking on the phone, and Kei pretty much tells Aika, if we hang out, you gotta be straightforward with Wataru, because she's giving all these things in the text group about the fact that, he can't be creepy around her little sister, and how he needs to, be on his best behavior. And that's, like I said, that's when Kei calls and says, look, you gotta be straightforward with him, but don't treat him like crap, because if you like him and you want him to stay, you need to be honest and just be a good person with him. And that's when she kind of gets this like feeling of, maybe that's what's kind of happened, So it's a really interesting episode, and I'm really curious to see how they close it. Though it's going to be like most romances, I feel like there's going to be a lot of loopholes and things that not getting closed. It's bound to happen with a 12 episode anime. You're not going to get a perfect series every single time, because like I know later this week I'm going to cover one that I just recently watched. That's an older one, My Little Monster in English. Absolutely loved that one. Tons of open holes. You can tell that there was supposed to be maybe a second core or a second season, and it just never happened between budget or who knows what. But a lot of people hated it. I loved it. But that's besides the point. You're never going to get a perfect series, and especially with the 12 episode one. Sometimes you do. It's really rare, but I kind of like that. I like a little bit of open interpretation, or if you really want to know and there's more material, just read it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but what do you do? But that's this episode. If you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like. It means a lot to me. And if you're feeling really generous, hit that subscribe button. I upload twice a week with seasonals. I try to do the podcast once a week or every other week. And then obviously, like I said, later this week, I will be uploading another video about animes that I enjoy. So if that's interest you at all, hit that subscribe button. Love it, love it, love it. So with that being said, out of the way, thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you all in the next video. So this has been Squids. Peace.